Welcome to Inside Marketing with MarketSurge, your front row seat to the boldest ideas and smartest strategies in the marketing game. Your host is Reed Hansen, Chief Growth Officer at MarketSurge.
Inside Marketing with MarketSurge, we're diving deep into the psychology of peak performance with none other than Daren Fields of Apex8 Advisory, a former athlete turned elite performance strategist who now coaches top-tier entrepreneurs, CEOs, and high performers to unlock the next level in their mindset and execution. With a deeply practical approach, Daren helps his clients rewire their operating system, breaking through self-imposed limits, silencing internal chaos, and building the habits that create unstoppable momentum. Whether you're running a growing business, leading a team, or just trying to get out of your own damn way, this episode is going to hit hard. We're talking mindset mastery, identity transformation, and the exact strategies Daren uses to help people go from stuck to savage. Buckle up. Welcome, Daren. So glad to have you.
Thanks for having me, Reed. I'm happy to be here. I'm looking forward to the show.
Yeah, my pleasure. So first off, you talk a lot about rewiring your internal operating system. What would you say that really means, and how did you discover that this was the key to performance?
Well, this book is really, it's only been out, I think about 2 months now. So it was born in the AI era, right? So this is the type of book that, as others have said, is much needed today in the AI era. And one of the things that we really do in the book is we bring the conscious awareness of what actually is involved in being persuasive in the world. So AI has brought so much knowledge and so much, basically empowerment to customers that you kind of got to rework the way you do things. And one of the things that I teach is about the asymmetry of knowledge. 50s, 60s, 70s, the salespeople had all the knowledge on how a Ferrari worked or how a solar panel worked or what have you. And you said, okay, I want to know about that. I got to go talk to a sales guy. That's basically, you were the keeper of the knowledge. Well, now, obviously, as the cloud came and the internet came and then search engines came, and now that AI is here, people are very much more in power on the knowledge side than ever before. So I don't really need salespeople anymore like I used to. So there's the rewire. The rewire now is, how do you build trust? How do you build trust, and how do you do it quickly? Because you've got a lot of social media out there. You've got tons of people that want to find somebody to do what they've already learned about online or through their family or through their friends, and they have a lot of knowledge, and they want to find somebody to actually do it and do it right, not necessarily teach them and then talk them into something they don't need. So that's the rewire. You have to kind of look at it through a different lens.
Okay. That's helpful. So what are some of the common blocks, or where are a lot of these entrepreneurs, say executives and athletes, where are they getting stuck? What are these blocks that they typically face?
These days, it's funny. I just had a conversation with a friend of mine over in Israel. And we were talking about automation versus not automation, because AI is all about automation. It really is a machine. Our first levels of automation is machine learning. There's a place to use it and there's a place not to use it. And one of the biggest things we've got to pull out right now, one of the biggest things that the public is most concerned about in regards to AI is misinformation and deep fakes. Mm-hmm. They're very, very worried about it. So now that psychology and psychometrics is going to trickle down to the home services folks, to the agencies of the world, tax agencies. All these people do persuade and sell. They may not want to call it that, but that's what they do. All of you roofers out there that are following up a hailstorm and you want to go do a bunch of inspections, I got to tell you, you're not the only one going out, and you are selling, and you're being persuasive why they should pick you over the other ones, and you talk about what you do. But when we talk about automation, we talk about people, and we talk about not trusting AI and not trusting ads and all of these things, it really starts to come down to building trust. How do you build trust fast in today's marketplace? How do you quickly go, and what we teach is a thing called Rev Gen 90, which is in 90 minutes or less, we show people how to quickly pick up where that that buyer is at in their journey, which is probably at the point you would think they would be, which is, how do I find somebody to do everything I learned about on AI? Because AI is able to, if you say, I am trying to, I want to get involved in solar. I want to pay back to the grid. I want to lower my bill. Whatever the motivation is to start doing the research as a buyer sitting in their home, as soon as they spend 2, 3, 4 hours or days, it's not weeks anymore. As long as they are doing it in AI, it's going to come back with, would you like a list of who to shop for? Or would you like a list for who to talk to? Or do you like a list for, and they have all that. So before, the roofer or the HVAC person even shows up, this person already knows a lot. And they've already been coached on the basics. Now it's, who do I trust? And now it's a trust game. So if you're going to be a persuader and a revenue generator in today's world, you've got to learn how to be your authentic self, and you've got to know where to use the automation and where the automation is hurting your authentic self. So for example, a list, right? Getting automation around your list for your funnel. Absolutely. Use AI and it'll go deep into the bowels. It's a great research tool. You'll probably have more names on that list than you've ever heard before. But now you got to flip it. Now that you got to get back human, you got to come back to human now. Don't start sending a bunch of basic emails. If you can't personalize that, or you and your marketers can't personalize that, you guys probably should. How do you make this more realistic? Maybe even keep it short and sweet, like, hello, Bill, saw online, or be transparent. Saw online or saw some indications on the internet that you might be looking for solar panels. If you are, give me a call. And what you'll find is that genuine approach and that genuine vibe, and have multiple different versions of that, you'll start to get some really interesting results out of your marketing, right? And you'll start to get some elements there. But really what's going to happen then is at that point, they're going to do a street cred check. Are you there? Are you in business? How long have you been in business? The usual stuff. And now they're going to invite you out. Get face-to-face. Start doing face-to-face. I'm seeing a lot of people, you ask me what are people running into, they kind of got the COVID hangover where they're relying too much on video calls. They're relying too much on, other phone calls, robocallers. They're doing a lot. I'm sorry, guys, you're going to have to now go back to the streets. You got to go a little old school. Once your marketer gets you that appointment, you got to step in as the human. Stop the automation, get in the truck, drive out, and start meeting them from face to face, and start learning how to do this. And so in Apex 8, we talk about discovery, we talk about prototype, but for HVAC and home services, it's going to be mini demos, mini proof of concepts, mini mock-ups, where you paint the customer into the picture of doing business with you. So, in step 2 of Apex 8, get good at mocking it up, painting them into the picture, and play with it. Start learning how to do this. And then validate, all in the first visit. All in the first visit. So while you're in the front door, begin with, so why did you call us out today? You got a million choices. Thank you for choosing us. Why did you call us out? I'm just curious. What's the one big problem you're hoping to solve here? What's the big thing? I mean, I take it that you probably did a lot of research on the web. Again, you're being your authentic self. You're also bringing in truth. They're going to say, yeah, I am. You're okay with that? They say, and you're like, yeah, of course. I'm glad you did. What did you learn? What did you figure out? I learned this. I learned this. I learned this. I learned this. Okay, good. And how many folks you got coming out? I got 4 more coming out. You see right there, you're going to have a little bit of bravery now, because you don't have the knowledge anymore. They're not going to come in. You got to ask the hard questions now. They used to have to ask the hard questions. Now you got to ask the hard questions. How many people you got coming out? I don't want to do that. What if they have, guys, stop. Trust me. Reed will tell you right now, they have been told by AI or their family members, make sure you get 3 quotes. Really? You don't think they are? And hey, guess what? If you ask the question and they say, nope, I didn't choose anybody, you had just validated that you're their number 1 choice. Guys, ask the tough questions and then validate it. Did my mock-up look good? How was that? What did you think? What did you think?
Yeah.
And you're actually not closing. Don't try and close. Just try and get a validation of it. And you will have the best living room times of your days, because in 90 minutes, you should be able to do this. And in 90 minutes, you'll know whether you got a deal or not, so to speak, or whether or not you got a customer for life.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great. Now, Just to pivot slightly, I don't want to sell you short because you have a really interesting background, very unique, and would love to hear about your background as an athlete and how you've made that transition to being a coach, an advisor, a fractional revenue officer. How did your background help lead to where you are today?
Oh, thank you for that question. Yeah, I mean, I'm again motorsports athlete, two wheels, four wheels, circle track, straight line, road course. But also wrestled in high school, big extreme sports guy, etc. So, you know, I like to say that I traded some of my deeper or more advanced education for education at the track. I learned a lot about business being in the business of racing, right? And got some college under our belt, but we kind of melded those two things together. And that, if you look at my career, it is those two things together. So, how it came to be, or how it benefits me, is that in the motorsports world, we are very pro risk. We are very bold. You just have to be, right. You can die at any time, at any corner, or at any moment. And you learn about team, and you learn about trust, and you learn about a lot of things. So at a very young age, I was constantly living in the world of continuous improvement. How do you get faster, race after race, weekend after weekend? How do you shave a tenth or 300ths of a second off of your lap times to get to the front of the pack, right? He who goes fast wins. But there's a bunch behind that. So it's funny that motorsports and business look a lot alike. It's just one is very pro risk and one is very risk averse. And so, what I brought to the business world, which is risk averse, we don't want to lose money, we don't want to go out of business, we don't want to be homeless, whatever it is that runs through your mind. The psychology there is a little different. So when I hit the business world, I said, well, there's got to be a better way to do this. There's got to be a faster way to do this. There's got to be a better way to do this. There's got to be a faster way to. I would drive my bosses nuts. I would drive them crazy. We've got lots of stories over the decades, but yeah, there were many times when I had to say, I want my own marketing person. I want my own salespeople. I want my own this. I want my own that. I'm net new, blah, blah, blah. That's the boldness. You have to be bold to be a net new. So, really, when we take a look at what it takes to win a race and to stay on top of your game and what it takes to do it in business, they are very, very, very similar.
That's yeah. That's helpful to know. When you made that transition, did you did you find that um, did you find that the competition level was the same? So you've been working in revenue operations. What are some of the differences in culture? I'd say between the two.
I love that question. No one's ever asked me that. From a competitive standpoint, the business world is much more competitive because when I show up at the track, I know all my competitors, one to one degree or another. On a scale of 1 to 10, I know them from at least 3 to 10, right? I know them. In business, I don't see them. I'm here in Las Vegas. I know they're out there, but I don't see them. I do know that I did borrow something from Eddie Lawson, who was, I believe, two-time grand world champion and multi-champion in different classes. Eddie Lawson, when he would show up at the track, he would say, I know there's somebody here that can beat me. Now, it's interesting about that because what he was saying is I know my competitors, like he knew me, but one of those threes could jump to a 10, right? Or maybe just someone shows up out of nowhere. So if any of you know or want to look up the story of Kevin Schwantz, I was at Willow Springs the day that Kevin showed up. And it was interesting because nobody knew who Kevin was. A couple people did. They brought him to Willow Springs. They asked Yoshimura Racing Team to look at him. He jumped on the bike. 3, 4 laps later, he was within 2, 3 tenths of the track record. So we went from 0 to 1,000 miles an hour, and he was signed literally that day. And he went on to be one-time world champion, but won many races. The reason why I say that is the beauty of being pro risk in the business world is, yes, you have a lot of competition. But if you're willing to take some risks and be bold, you will be rewarded. Meaning if you're willing to confront whatever your fears are as a business person and you know buy a book. You don't have to buy mine. Just buy a book and go get in a class and start getting into the art of persuasion in 2025. You'll start to head your competition off. It won't necessarily be in the product always. It could be. It could be table stakes. But in racing, there's a lot of classes I've raced in where we all have the exact same motor, have the exact same frame, have the exact same everything. It's called spec racing. One guy's 14 minutes out front of the guy that's in last place. I mean, it's crazy, right? So as a business person, just buckle in, work with your team, work with your marketers, work with, get your org board out and start going, how do I improve everything to do one thing, is to persuade the public to choose me over my competition.
Yeah. So, as a, from your approach and your philosophy, I think this is really relevant to a lot of people in my audience. I have people that are really good at their craft, whether it's a photographer or maybe they've mastered a trade. But they live in a state of overwhelm. They've come to me because they want to grow, but they're struggling with the operating a business and the burden of sales and marketing, and they are just overwhelmed. What would you advise somebody in that position, and how to avoid just hustling and never being free of work?
Yeah, and this happens a lot in what I will call the creative sphere, right? The creative spectrum.
Yeah.
It's interesting when you look at finance and fintech and all those things. There's a lot of structure to their world. For a photographer, they're a creative. Even for a contractor, they're a creative.
Mm-hmm.
I could give a hammer and a chisel and a tool belt to two contractors, put them into two houses on the same street in the same neighborhood here in Las Vegas, and you and I could come back 3 months later and we just go, oh, and the other one's, oh, right. They're very creative people. They create something that wasn't there before. So for any of those creatives, and that's a broad list, it does get hard in the sales and marketing world. They want to create the answer and as opposed to solve it. So what I would say to a photographer in specific, I would say, take a look at your org board and say, who's going to help you get the signature? The difference between marketing and sales is the signature, right? That's my nickname, the signature guy. But marketing is right there. Well, obviously, marketing brings them, helps you, like you say, find all your competitors, but marketing also helps you find the people before the other guys do. It's a much needed world. But then you got to close them, everybody. And so for the photographer, it's like, well, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not this. I'm going to create enough of a solution that they'll just go with me. My advice to you is possibly find somebody to help you with getting the signature, or B, take a little bit of time and put some conscious competence and recognize that there's another side of you which believes in what you do, and just say, all right, I'm going to take a look at this and just say, maybe if I just follow the steps of Apex8, maybe I don't have to be all salesy. Maybe I don't. Because I will say this to those creative types out there. I did kind of write this for you. I wrote this for technical people. I wrote this for innovators. And so whether you're designing a whole website for somebody or you're designing a photo shoot for somebody, you're still a creative or an innovator. And one thing that I will point out in my book, there's 8 steps, is that the 6th step is called finalize. It is not called closing. I do not have really anything that overcomes objections, because that's a different flow. That's a different map. That's a different play. It's a different plan. The only reason why you would have to overcome an objection is if they had one. So Apex8 is designed to remove as much of that as possible and deal with finalize. Now, psychologically, when people don't want to finalize, if you've done Apex8 the right way, execute it and master it and play with it, it takes a few months, I'm not going to lie. But once you get good at it, they'll start asking you, well, how much does this cost? I know you don't work for free. What is this going to run me? They will start doing that, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Almost at validate. Yeah, when you say things like, did that hit the mark for you? When you hit the mark, they're going to immediately go, yeah, so how do we get started? You're like, oh, okay, well, let's just go with it. You actually didn't close, guys. You finalized. And when you finalize, then you're going to run into what you'll find with Apex 8 is you get into that section, you're going to go, oh my goodness, they're not going for it. They're not doing what Daren said. Go back to validate and go, okay, so what has you concerned? What's your worry? Well, I did talk to somebody else and they did this and they told me that and I'm confused. Guys, you're not overcoming an objection at this point. You're really not. You're going to bring the truth back from the previous 5 steps and go, well, now remember we talked about this in my prototyping or my mock-up. Remember when we talked about this was more important than that in the validation? Remember when I actually showed you some other customers that are actually using it in my demo step? Oh, I do. Okay. You're right. Let's go. You don't even have to ask if you do it right. Psychologically, you'll walk them right down the road that AI put them on when they first started. So for the photographers and the creatives, if you and the innovators, if you guys kind of get into those first few steps, you will not be a salesperson. You will be a persuader. And that's a different hat for you guys. So either A, get somebody to help you do it, and maybe you hire a sales crew. And if you want to do that, do that. I know of a photographer that hired my wife at one time, and she was a salesperson, and she would call every day for 4 hours, and she had this photographer, Monty Noose. He was booked for weeks out. So, if you can't do that part, or you don't want anything to do with that, or you feel it's going to tarnish your brand, bring in a signature person, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Daren, there's a lot of wisdom here, and I'm sure that you have an endless supply. I'm be really interested in learning more. Where would people go if they would like to either work with you, read your book, benefit from these great practices you teach?
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you. And Apex8 book.com, apex8book.com. That's where you can go to learn about the book. You can learn some things on there about the methodology. And then, yes, if you want to order the book from there, please, go ahead, feel free. You can do it in all different forms. But really, for those that really want to kind of get some training or more hands-on, then there's apex8advisory.com. So if you go to apex8advisory.com, and even I would say this to you and to your listeners and for you guys, because it is a good show. I really love where you guys are at. If you're watching this, if you want to email me or you want to get a hold of Reed, I'll get you guys a free ebook copy. I'll get it to you so that you have it for tuning in, for investing and learning about it. I'd be happy to send it to you. Just get a hold of me. I guess we'll put it in the show notes, right, Reed?
Yeah.
But
yes,
Daren at DarenFields.com. But mention the show, right? Mention MarketSurge, so I know. I don't usually give these things away. So for everybody listening, just email me, mention the show, mention Reed, and then I'll be happy to shoot you guys on email. Give me your email, give me a phone number. I'll shoot you guys what you need for an ebook. We'll get you guys going.
Thanks so much, Daren. That's a really generous gift for our listeners, and I would encourage everybody to reach out to Daren and just so you know, it's Daren with one R. I wanted to make sure you specify.
Thank you. It happens a lot. Yeah, 2 R's.
Yeah. Well, I get people think that my name is spelled 5 different ways. I think it'd be simple, but so I totally empathize. Well, Daren, thank you so much for joining our podcast today and for the lessons that you've shared and this wonderful gift.
Thank you very much for having me. I always love exploring these topics, so thank you.
Want to stay ahead of what's actually working in marketing right now? Head over to MarketSurge.io and see how we're helping businesses grow smarter, faster, and louder. That's MarketSurge.io, because your next breakthrough shouldn't be a guess.